All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this really exciting introductory webinar to the Sero Project Justice Institute for 2021. We will have Spanish interpretation this evening, and I am Kamaria Laffrey with the Sero Project. And so we'll get right into it.
So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jose Romero. I'll be your English to Spanish, Spanish to English interpreter for this afternoon. Buenas tardes todos. Mi nombre es Jose Romero y yo voy a ser su intérprete de inglés a español y español a inglés esta tarde. A few guidelines around interpretation. If you follow the instructions on your screen, you can click the globe that will be at the bottom of your screen if you're joining from a computer, and then choose the language that you want to listen in if you are interested in listening in today's session in Spanish. Unas pautas sobre la interpretación de hoy. Si se quiere unir al canal de interpretación, puede seleccionar el globo que se encuentra al fondo de la pantalla y seleccionar la idioma en cual quiere participar hoy. Language justice is something that we do together, and we are so grateful that Sero Project is flexing their language justice muscle, and we encourage y'all to let your friends know that Sero is now offering bilingual services as well. So just a reminder to breathe after every sentence and to speak slowly so that I can keep up. La justicia del lenguaje es algo que hacemos juntos, así que agradecemos el proyecto Sero que está experimentando con ese músculo sobre la justicia del lenguaje y les damos la invitación de darle la recomendación a sus amistades que Sero aún ya tiene interpretación disponible. Y recuérdense de respirar después de cada frase, hablar lentamente para que pueda interpretar yo, y muchas gracias. Thank you, and we can go ahead and get started.
Gracias, and thank you so much. I think one other housekeeping thing I wanted to mention before we get into our agenda. If you're trying to get my attention directly, I will not be in the chat box. So please acknowledge Tammy or Cindy if you have questions in the chat. And then we'll call out any questions when it's time for a question and answer. So our agenda tonight is we're going to go over what the Sero Project Justice Institute is. We will go over the objectives and expected outcomes, the timeline, our overall expectations, and the benefits of being a part of this inaugural historic opportunity. The Sero Project Justice Institute is a year-long program that is designed to nurture advocacy, leadership skills, and self-empowerment to participants to assist their confidence and participation in state coalition work. The Justice Institute will help deepen and enhance grassroots movements, especially those led by people living with HIV, to end the wrongful use of one's HIV status in criminal prosecutions, and to address the racism, homophobia, transphobia, and overcriminalization that disenfranchises communities. Participants will increase their skills and tools for strategy planning, gather support, and mentorship. And with that, I'm going to turn this over to Tammy, unless I'm supposed to do this slide too, I forgot.
This is still you, Kamaria.
It's still me, okay, I apologize. Our objective for this institute is that the participants will gain advocacy skills that will assist their confidence and participation in the state coalition work, as we mentioned, deepen and enhance their grassroots movements, those led by us, people living with HIV, to end the wrongful use of one's HIV status in criminal prosecutions, and address the racism, homophobia, transphobia, and overcriminalization that disenfranchises communities. And then our last objective is to increase your skills and tools in strategic planning, gather support, and mentorship, and not limited to that, where of course, whatever is specific to your leadership and advocacy skill needs, we would love for that to be an objective as well for you. And now I'll turn it over to Tammy.
Actually, it'll go to Kevin.
Kevin, oh, I'm sorry. I forgot the order. Apologies.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. Just so to make sure everyone knows who I am, I'm Kevin Lish in Idaho, and I am the bookkeeper at the Sero project. And so when designing the Institute, we have done this, so it's going to be a 12-month virtual program using Zoom and other virtual tools. Course development is being led by Institute faculty and Sero staff, including people living with HIV community experts. We are doing our best to design these courses to provide maximum participation and hands-on learning opportunities for those that are chosen. And we're also going to give attendees a chance to educate us as well with teach-back exercises designed throughout the courses during the 12 months. Some of the faculty that have agreed to help in this are Wahida Shabazz-El, Allison Nickel, Barb Cardell, and of course the 4 Sero staff you see here today, myself, Tammy, Cindy, and Kamaria. If we could go on to the next slide, please, whoever. Great. So the timeline for the Institute is, it kicks off today with this webinar, and we will also be releasing the application. We're going to ask that you all return applications by January 11th. We will be having a second webinar on January 15th for those that will be reviewing the applications. And just to make sure everyone understands the process, our great partners for both HIV is Not a Crime and the Health Not Prisons Collective have agreed to review the applications for us. And that includes organizations like Thrive SS, Positive Women's Network USA, Transgender Law Center, Positively Trans, and Counter Narrative Project, just to name a few. And we really appreciate their help to make sure that we are building a set of students for this inaugural institute that is done with a lens towards racial justice. We are going to ask the reviewers to give us recommendations for those that will get an interview by January 29th. Acceptance letters will go out to those folks on or before February 5th. The interviews for final participation will be the 9th through the 12th of February. We'll have an orientation webinar on February 17th. We'll commence the 12 months of learning, and we'll end the program on March 30th of 2022. Next slide, Maria. So we have some expectations, and we are going to expect participants to work in state coalitions, and that can, be to participate in existing state coalitions, willingness to participate in existing state coalitions, or help build a state coalition if the state you live in doesn't have one. We're going to ask participants to have access to reliable technology like a laptop, cell phone, or internet, but we understand, especially with the advent of COVID-19, that could be challenging for many of us right now. And so, not to step on Tammy's thunder, we have designed the Institute to have some positive ways to make sure that can happen when someone is chosen. We're going to ask that you participate in all the calls, assignments, and surveys for the Institute to make sure that you get the most out of it, and also so that we get the most out of it. I would hope that a successful institute like this is the faculty and Sero staff will learn just as much as you all do during the 12 months. The 12 months of learning exercises is going to include a 90-minute introductory webinar each month, a 60-minute mid-month check-in meeting, and then a 60-minute report back. We're going to ask you all to participate in HIV is Not a Crime community conversation webinars, and this may even be a chance where the participants of the Institute will have a chance to do some teach back during those community conversations. And then also we would really like you and expect you to go out into your communities, into your states, and we're going to give you some post-assessment on engagement with state legislators, community advocacy, and hopefully encourage you to use your skills that you've learned in the last 12 months to move reform forward of HIV criminalization in your state. And the next slide. And I believe this is where Tammy's going to take over, right, Tammy?
I think so. If not, I will anyway. But thank you, Kevin and Maria. And for anyone who doesn't know, Tammy Hott, and I am Sero Project Organizing and Training Coordinator. So some of the benefits of the Institute. Participants will receive a $200 stipend each month to help cover the cost of internet and cell phone service while participating in the program. That was the funder that Kevin stole from me. So we know that everybody's budget is tight right now. So we want to help people who are participating to be able to cover those services. Participants will also receive expert mentorship. I believe it was Kevin who mentioned some of the faculty. We have more faculty yet to find and confirm, so there will be other experts as well. So you'll be getting mentorship opportunities from some of the leaders in the HIV community to enhance your advocacy skills, to raise awareness, inspire action, and affect change through a strategic legislative plan. Participants who complete the program will receive a certificate of completion for the Sero Project Justice Institute and the opportunity to be faculty for future Sero Project Institute programming. You'll also be listed as a co-author as we develop the HIV Criminalization Reform 101 Toolkit. Next slide. So at the end of the Institute, after the 12 months, all participants will contribute and help design and create the HIV Criminalization Reform Toolkit, which will be a living document because as we host future institutes every year, there will be just different things discussed and worked on so that we can continue to build that toolkit to be as most helpful to state coalitions as possible. Each participant will also be put into a group that can choose from the following webinar teach-back opportunities. So we'll have different modules, and we'll discuss those in a later slide, but groups, 2 or 3 people together can decide what they want to lead after they've participated in the 8 modules that we will be having. Next slide, please. So the application along with the slide deck and the recording of this webinar, we will be sending it out to everyone who registered along with the different Google groups that we have for state coalitions. And as soon as the recording is available, so it's usually about within an hour, you can expect to get that email. So the application itself has 5 sections. It's the introductions and instructions. On the application, we share the expectations and benefits again, and then we ask for basic information and questions about HIV criminalization, your advocacy history, different information like that. The 3rd section is on technology, and this is where we understand that connectivity and technology can be a barrier, but we want to eliminate that. So we're asking anyone who applies to fill out some questions for us to help, so that we can help everyone succeed in this institute if they are chosen to participate. We also have a section for a time commitment and ask for people to sign that they do commit and realize there is time that they will need to commit each month to fully engage and participate in the Institute, and then basic demographic information. Next slide. So this is the breakdown of the Institute. So in February, we'll start with the orientation webinar, and then we have modules, 8 different modules that will happen over the next year. And then in June, we won't have any specific module, but we will expect Institute participants to participate in HINAC 4, which is virtual this year. We'll have a 6-month review in August and start designing and making sure that all the information that we have gained up to this point is in the toolkit, and get that started. And then finish off with the modules, the rest of the modules. And January dedicated to finishing up that toolkit and getting it prepared to release in February, when the program will end for this group of Institute participants. Next slide, please. Let's see. I believe Cindy's taking over from here.
Thank you, Tammy. Hi, I'm Cindy. I'm with the Sero project. I'm the project coordinator and the Prisoners Network coordinator, and I am real excited about this. At the closing of the Institute each year, participants will have been guided in creating a community toolkit, have the opportunity to lead a teach back workshop to their peers, will earn a certificate indicating their completion of the Institute and the opportunity to be a faculty in the future SBJI, Sero Project Justice Institute. The Sero Project Justice Institute is made possible with the generosity funding of the Gilead for the Health Not Prison Collective, the ViV Health Care's Positive Action Grant, and AIDS United POP Grant. And if you have any questions about the Sero Project Justice Institute, please contact spjinfo@theseroproject.com. And I'm turning it over to Kamaria.
Thank you, Cindy. So as we mentioned earlier, the application will be released once the recording for this webinar is made available, so you can reference back to it for any questions that are asked during the Q&A portion of our time together. And it is in a Google form. And now we're going to open up for any questions you may have, any clarity. If you need me to go back to slides, just let us know. And are there any questions in the chat box that were raised? I can't see.
No, it was just if the slides would be released and shared.
Tammy answered them.
Okay.
And I have made it so everyone can unmute themselves if they have a question.
I have a question.
Sure.
So you have different modules. So the modules are per month, and that means it would be 4 hours per month, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then how many will be chosen?
12.
12?
Yes. So there'll be, just to clarify, there's 12 participants for a year-long institute, but there's only actually like 8 months of actual like face time of work. And then there's a few other months where we do review and check-in, HINAC, and we focus on the toolkit.
Thank you.
Certainly.
I have a question. This is Barry. Is there going to be like similar to HINAC scholarship applications where there were priority categories when you were choosing applicants, like who got a scholarship? Will there be a similar type of prioritization of when people apply, whether it's based on identities, based on experience, based on region, based upon where a particular state already is in the modernization process? Is there going to be any kind of prioritization that would be helpful for folks to think about as they consider submitting an application?
So our scoring guidelines, Tammy, did you want to address that?
Just a second, let me quick pull them up. And Carrie, just a general yes for all of those questions. So we are looking at having the most diverse participant list as possible. So people from the most marginalized communities will receive more scoring, but there's the general scoring for the overall answers to the basic questions. But, you know, one of the questions is provide a statement on why HIV criminalization reform efforts matter to you. And then there's the basic scoring. After that, there are, you know, youth. If somebody is, let me see what I tried to remember what we did with it'd be under 29, 18 to 29, receive extra points along with people of trans experience and people of color. There are additional points and criteria that the reviewers will be looking at for that as well. We also have the states that have active coalitions right now, but also there are some states that we have also been communicating with that would like to start some. So we're hoping that we get applicants from states, even if there isn't currently a coalition in place, but as I can't remember who said it, if it's Kevin or Kamaria, if your state has an HIV-specific law and you want to start a coalition, the Institute would be a great place to learn those skills and to get that mentorship for people who have been working on either modernizing their laws or have gotten their laws modernized, who will be faculty to share their experiences and best practices.
Will it, is it limited to people living with HIV or no?
It
Yes.
is. I was actually
Yes,
just
it
about
is
to add that we wanted to stress that this is only for people living with HIV. I'm sorry, Tammy.
No, thank you, Kamaria.
And then will the application process require the applicants to have any kind of supporting letter or anything like that? Or is it just the applicant themselves filling it out?
It is just the applicant. There's no like reference letters or anything like that we're requesting.
Great question. Thank you, Gary.
Mhm.
Anyone else have any questions?
I did want to, because I'm sharing my screen, if there's any questions that need to be said out loud, since when the recording goes out, the chat won't, just for anybody who's listening to the recording, if there's, as y'all are answering, if there's something that I need to say just to clarify something that was asked.
No, thank you for that, Kamaria. Yes, they can't see the chat either. So the only question is, so far was in the chat box was if the PowerPoint would be shared. So just the answer that the slide deck, the recording, and the application will be shared with everyone who registered, along with the various Google groups and listservs that Sero is a part of. It will be shared hopefully within the hour.
Are there any other questions?
We do hope that you will share this opportunity and share the application with the slides and the recording with people that you know, either in your coalition or in another state or in some other area that you interact with them, and let them know about the Institute and encourage everyone to apply. Like I said, we are hoping for the most diverse, especially for this inaugural, well, for all of the institutes, but for this inaugural institute, to have it be as diverse as possible. So we hope that you will share this opportunity with others.
And I just want to go back to the timeline of that one, just to remind everyone when the deadline is for the applications. Was someone going to speak?
Yeah, I had one more thought or comment question. It maybe a little bit of all. I've found just in my experience with a lot of things like this or the HINAC training that, especially in the world of HIV criminalization, things tend to be kind of competitive. And so you might get a lot of applicants and then a lot of people very disappointed that they weren't chosen and that sort of thing. And I'm just finding, just even here in Indiana, just discouragement. People who've applied repeatedly sometimes for things and then they don't get it. And then they're like, I'm not going to apply again. So I tell them, well, you got to keep applying because then you'll never know. And this is just a thought, just something, I don't know if it's come up to think about, that just what if you had some really tough decisions and choices to make and you have some 30 stellar applicants from across the country and you can only choose 12. Just an idea is maybe just runner up could get like scholarships to attend the virtual HINAC training. I mean, just an idea. I just thought I'd just throw it out there. I know this is the first time you're all doing this. So, it's all new and that kind of thing, but just something to think about, because I've just noticed some discouragement, even from my perspective of being chair of HMM. I've just gotten discouraged, just kind of like, I can't get my advocates here to get the training that they need sometimes. And it's hard. It's just hard. And so I don't know. I guess I don't know if that's a question, a comment, or a thought, or a little bit of everything.
It was very valid. The struggle is real. Like this, it's like a double-edged sword. I'm looking forward to having to make a tough decision. Like I know a lot of people are going to apply and we're going to have to whittle it down. Tammy, did you have any thoughts around that suggestion? Or Cindy?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Carrie. And that's, as we also are at the same time organizing HINAC, that is a good suggestion that we can take back to the executive committee of HINAC to offer as well. So I appreciate that suggestion. And yeah, we know it's so tough. So we're not looking at, because we know there are people, and we're taking into consideration which I have learned from many of our trans brothers and sisters, that some people, they're trying to deal with life, so they don't have the time to focus on an application, where others are better at filling out an application, but they may not need the help and the leadership skills that we hope that people get from the Institute. So we'll be tasking the reviewers with taking all of that into consideration when they make recommendations. That we hope it's not just the usual suspects, and we are looking beyond the usual, group of people that participate, and we fully realize how challenging it is to want to attend or to want to participate and never get picked. So we're hoping through our review process and with the incredible reviewers we have, that we will be challenging them with that as well, to look at new, emerging, or advocates who have been doing this for a while but could really use the help honing their skills or to benefit state coalition work. Those are all things that we're taking into account.
I apologize. I was trying to make sure I was on the right slide for Thank you, Carrie, for raising that. And hopefully with the success of this institute, who knows what the future will hold for funding to be increased, and we can have more people apply for the next one and the one after that, and so on. But yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see all the applications that come in. Are there any other questions or concerns or thoughts? Okay. As people are still thinking, or if we're going to start to bring the webinar to a close, just a reminder that we will be sending out the link to the application along with the recording once it's available this evening, and that the deadline is January 11th of next year. So you have a little bit of time to be sharing this out to your networks and reminding people of this timeline. And the time commitment, I'm sorry, those are the two things I was stuck on. 4 hours, approximately 4 hours a month.
There you go.
Oh, stay
I
on
would
this.
leave it on that.
Okay.
Yeah, stay on that top slide just so that people can get that. If you do have any questions come up after we close this, please reach out to us.
And if there aren't any other closing thoughts or questions or concerns or even suggestions, then we can look to bring this to a close. I keep seeing the chat light up. That's why I keep pausing, because I don't know if it's something I need to wait for to answer a question or if folks are just affirming what we're discussing now. Kevin, Cindy, or Tammy, do you have?
Yeah, these are thank yous.
Okay.
Exciting. I agree, this is fantastic opportunity for so many. Thanks for doing this. Thank you very much, and we'll share. So, all wonderful statements, positive statements.
Cool.
Yes.
Glad to hear it, because I think for our community, this is something super important. As we've seen different experiences from advocates in various states, one of our main focuses for this was to make sure that we were elevating our lived experience as people living with HIV, that we were the ones that were creating something for us. So that's where my excitement's coming from, that this is something created by us, for us, that will help benefit us in this really hard work. It's not easy work. So I'm really glad that you all are on here and that you're also excited to join us in this inaugural effort.
I want to say thank you to Tammy, you, Sero Project, and Carrie, who I got to meet. This is very important, and I'm actually looking forward to applying because the years that I've been here in Greensboro doing this advocacy work, living with HIV myself, the criminalization laws, and then you don't have nothing here. The conversation isn't here. It's like people who are living with HIV here don't have that leadership or don't even know where to reach out to. So I'm actually looking forward, and I'm glad that y'all put this out here so that people like myself and other folks who are living with HIV and are on the front line can make it possible for them to learn. So thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. Kevin or Cindy, did you have
I just want to say thank you all, and we appreciate your time tonight and your support as we move forward. And please look for the email and share it with people that you think would benefit in participating.
Thank you, Tammy. I think with that, we'll close out the recording and end this webinar so it can upload as quickly to the cloud as possible so we can get this application out to folks. So thank you all again for being on. Have a great evening, and we look forward to seeing your application.
Thank you.
Good night.